Well, influenced obviously by the fact that all James Bond songs had to be dramatic, you know, they had to be. Well, yeah, you're writing to order, basically. You know, they call in the film Live and Let Die. You've already got the title, you've already got the style, you've already thought that it's going to be big, and it's going to be, you know, bang, crash, it's going to be that. You're going to be doing it with an orchestra. You're also going to be playing it live in the studio, so you know everything's worked out, and it's going to be big there, and it's going to go quiet, and you know that's all worked out. So then it's down to the performance, you know. And as soon as those, you know, strings of brass and timpani come in, then you work to it, you know. Well, the thing about a song like that is that it's not just a song; it's an actual event, you know, as proved when you see it live, when you got all the pyrotechnics going and stuff like that. It's like, wow, you know, it's a story in itself, you know. And there's a few songs like that, you know. Sergeant Pepper was like that, you know. And yeah, but it's not like, hey, this is a song, let's go and see what we come up with. It was specifically for a film, and the theme like, I keep coming back to this musical I've got, which is an ecological thing. I've had it around for years, and you know, you're writing about a specific thing that's going on that you're actually studying, you know, and you're learning as you're studying. You weren't necessarily going to write about it, but now there's a subject there. So now you're taking from the subject and putting your thing to it. And it becomes a whole thing, you know, that you've learned from that. And then it's your version of it. So, same. Easier to write to order, I think, than writing for yourself in some ways. But there again, hey, writing to order means that somebody's coming up to you and say, will you write a song? Whereas when you're writing for yourself, you probably don't bother half the time, you know. So he says to me, we're doing an album next week. Oh, better get going, you know. And then all the ideas that you've had or coming through, bits here, then you put them together. You know, but to actually sit down every day and write a song is, you know, it's like a bit of a fallacy, really. I think with most writers, I think they're all like that. Even Picasso, you know, we've got next week we've got a big exhibition of all your paintings. I haven't got any paintings. You know, he did that, didn't he? Absolutely. I mean, George, again, like Jeff Emerick, was, you know, is part of the package with the Beatles that they couldn't do without after a while. You know, and to bring him in on something like that, especially orchestrations, which was his forte, really. You know, apart from which he would work out a lot of the string parts, you know, with Paul too, on piano. And in the Beatles, he played a few things too. You know, he would play the part of like, there are places I remember. You know, he would play that. And then they'd speed it up, but it was George playing that. So it's a classical piece. So you're adding a trained classical composer, conductor, you know, expert in that field at EMI Studios, to something that we are, which is not that. We are more with the band. So you get a combination of things there that you need George to do. You've got to have somebody like that to do it. And such a nice guy anyway to deal with, you know, communication-wise. There was never any, what's he talking about? What do you mean? There's none of that. It was a completely easy, open thing to do. And you learn a lot from people like that too. So, again, you go in there, you've got your amp, you've got your bass or whatever, and you just 1, 2, 3, 4, away you go. And you're as much involved in what they're doing as what you're just doing yourself, you see. They kind of lead you, you lead them. It's a great feeling, all that. I love live recording, actually. Well, you know, when you say rocked, I mean, there are some things that really, you know, you get the feeling for, and you really you come back and you go, yeah, that was great, you know. Some things are more laborious. I mean, obviously, you know, some of the songs like don't make it as well as maybe you thought they would, but some of them do. I mean, you don't know really, and it depends what mood you're in. You know, you might be tired that night. You might not have come up with the thing, or you can't be bothered to do something, you know, and you don't get the feel on that thing. But when you rock, as you say, I mean, rocking is basically, you know, getting it in the pocket, you know. When you get that, there's no feeling like in the world. There's no feeling like it. You just, yeah, that's the one. You don't have to question it, you see. But it usually comes as a result of the band being on at that moment, you know. Yeah, sometimes, you know, it's usually the drummer. If he's on, everybody's on.